Welcome to the Fat Guys with Smokers podcast. I'm Mike.
And I'm John. We're a couple of overweight barbecue enthusiasts trying to share our love for sweet and smoky food with the world.
Thanks for hanging out with us as we talk about life, share recipes, successes, and failures that have all led to our love of cooking outdoors.
Welcome back, everybody, to another exciting episode of Fat Guys with Smokers on the Road. I'm John, here with the Mr. Mike Bohm.
Heyo. It's good to be back, John. We took a week off, and I feel like I missed something in my life, you know?
I know. It was replaced with something magical, though. Thanksgiving.
Yep.
The Super Bowl of Fat Guy holidays.
How was your Thanksgiving?
Mine was good. We, had all the fixings: turkey, ham, pie. I may have gone a little overboard with pie. I think we had 9 different pies that I brought.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Did you smoke any of them?
I did. We didn't really smoke, but we cooked out on the Traeger. We did trying to remember, did an apple crumb pie, and then we also did a peach pie.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, those Murray Calendar pies were on sale, and I went with the intention of buying a couple and bought like 15. So
Bought
I
the whole
have pie.
popping out.
I have pie for days at my house.
That's awesome.
Yeah. How was yours?
It was good. We were actually with the in-laws down at an Airbnb. So we did
Nice.
try to do Thanksgiving dinner with limited resources, but didn't take my smokers. Kind of wish I would have, but also I drive a van, so you know.
Hey man, where there is a will, there is a way. And I may know a guy who's got a hitch carrier that regularly gets used to haul smokers around.
There you go. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Didn't think about that.
Yeah. But we actually, there weren't a ton of leftovers, so I smoked a turkey on Saturday. And
Oh, right on.
Oh my gosh. Every year I forget about how good like a brined and smoked turkey is.
Yeah, dude. This one we cooked. I mean, it was fine, but like it just kind of got thrown in. There was no seasoning. There was no brine. I was gonna inject it, but I didn't, and it was fine. But the smoked turkey that's brined, it's a game changer. Like it's just so much better. So
Yeah. Yeah, and it's so juicy.
yeah.
And I mean the turkey at dinner wasn't dried out by any means, but it's like when I do a smoked and brine turkey, like there are paper towels, like a whole roll of paper towels sitting there because I know I'm just going to be sopping up juice because it's everywhere on the cutting board.
Delicious, man.
I know.
Yeah, like this one, it wasn't bad, but you don't know what you're missing until you've had a good smoked turkey for sure.
Right. Well, hey, because we're on the road, well, at least I'm on the road. Seems like I'm forever throwing in chaos into our recording schedule.
Worth it.
And we're using Zoom. We're gonna do a little show and tell. Hopefully this works for the YouTube videos. But for a shout out, we're gonna go a little different today. Shouting out this right here, a big old plate of barbecue that I had for lunch a couple of days ago here in Texas. This was Terry Black's in Dallas that we went to for lunch and had just this massive beef rib. And then there was this had a little pork rib on the side too, and cream corn, Mike. I've been eating more elote down here than I've ever had in my life, and I'm coming around.
I'm proud of
So
you. I'm a huge fan.
yeah, it was really really good. Um, but the other cool thing, I love going to barbecue restaurants because
Mm.
anytime you go to a barbecue restaurant, if you know how to ask a couple of questions, they will let you come check out the pits. And these guys were actually
Ooh.
doing pit tours while we were there. Um,
Oh
this
wow.
is this is one of their 5,000-gallon smokers um, with their homemade sausage. All of the trimmings that come off of their brisket and ribs go into making sausage, and they make like 2,000 pounds of sausage a week at this location.
Dude.
I was, we were talking about they burn between 4 and 6 cords of post oak every week in these pits.
Oh man.
And for
Do they
anyone who
only use
knows,
post oak?
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And I'm trying to remember the dimensions. I think a cord is like 4 foot by 8 foot of stacked 1 foot logs. Like that is a massive amount of wood. Like typically about half a cord fits in the back of a regular pickup truck.
Yeah. 4 foot by 8 foot by 4 foot, like high too.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah,
Dang.
it is just like a ton of it. So um do grabbed a grabbed a selfie too with my new friend Craig. He and I, it was funny. I was fangirling over everything going on in this pit, and the rest of my group from work was like standing about 20 feet off in the parking lot, like, dude, come on, we've got to go. We've got things that we've got to do.
Let's go.
And I was like, sorry, Craig and I are busy right now. So shout out to Craig, shout out to Terry Blacks. I think we're actually going to Terry Black's down here in Austin tomorrow for lunch with a different group
Where
of
was this
people.
at?
This one was in Dallas. Um,
Oh, okay.
so it's like right in downtown Dallas. Their original location is in Lockhart. So, um, but just awesome food. If you ever get a chance and you're in Texas, look up Black's because it is fantastic.
Are they all over Texas? Do they have a bunch of them, or is it just those three?
I think they've got 4 or 5 locations because they've got the 2 in Dallas, they've got 1 in Austin, and I think they've got 1 in Houston. So I think they've got 4.
Very cool.
So if you are in a major city in Central Texas, you're going to be close to a Blacks.
Mm, right on.
So
That's awesome.
yeah, it was super cool. But we just celebrated Thanksgiving, and we
Hmm.
are fast approaching Christmas.
It's gonna be here before we know it.
Yeah. For
So
anyone not keeping track, you are 25 days until it needs to be under the tree. And
mhm.
really, you've got like 15 days not to look like a total idiot to buy your wife a good present. So get on
Don't
it.
be one of those guys in Walmart at 6 a.m. on Christmas Eve trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
For
Um,
sure.
and and don't forget her stocking. We we've got we've got it worked out where we trade names for stocking and everyone buys gifts for another person. So it's not a high risk, but I've seen a couple of reels and memes just in the last few days about uh, husbands not remembering that they have a crucial responsibility here to
Mhm.
to make sure that they're buying their wife stocking. So husbands, don't forget. But today we're going to talk about gifts, right, Mike?
Yep.
So
Yeah, this
specifically, go for it. This is super awkward over Zoom.
I
We were
hate
talking
Zoom,
about
dude.
this as we were starting. We didn't have our like music to get us hyped up and started out, and now we're talking all over each other because there's a little bit of a delay. But Mike, go for it.
I'm sorry. It feels like COVID all over again, and it's a nightmare.
Well, I know, and with you hacking
Yeah,
that,
so
man,
we
it
were just
almost is
trying to
like
think
COVID.
of I know, right? I cannot. One day I'll be able to breathe again. I actually feel a lot better today, but I sound like crap. So, anyway, we were trying to figure out a good idea, and my wife said, sometimes it's hard to know what to get your husband for Christmas. So why don't you guys do like a gift guide or things that uh fat guys with smokers would be interested in? So that's kind of the plan, I think, to talk about some of the things that you could get. And I mean, it's people at any level, entry level or somebody who's really into it. We'll talk about, I don't know, a few things and hopefully just kind of get the juices flowing, get some ideas out there. And everybody's going to be different. And some people might think it's stupid, but I think it's a cool idea to kind of at least give some ideas. For example, my dad has always been impossible to buy for because he doesn't have a ton of hobbies and it's hard to think of stuff. But he got himself a Traeger off of Facebook like a year ago or so. And so he's kind of started that a little bit. So that's kind of helped us,
Nice.
you know, get some ideas. So anyway, yeah, I don't know how you want to do it. And this is awkward because we're talking over each other, but do you want to each take something that we're thinking of, or what do you want to do?
No, yeah, so I've got a couple of ideas and I guess well, why don't we just let's go back and forth and I've got at least four or five ideas and you share one, I'll share one, and then hopefully we don't talk over the top of each other.
Sounds great. You want to go first?
Sure. And again, I'm gonna start I'm gonna start on the low end of prices and then work our way up because
Okay.
I think there are things in all sorts of budgets that you can do, and whether you need something big or small, you've got lots of good options. Um, and I think the first one is just fuel, like if whether it's lump charcoal, pellets, wood, like for me, like actually fuel is a great option as a gift. It's relatively inexpensive. There are lots of different varieties, and you can do some more exotic things if you wanted to be a special present. So you
Mm,
don't have to buy the normal bag of lumberjack pellets from me on in my garage. You can buy a new variety that they haven't tried before, um, or there's a ton of like unique and special blends of lump charcoal that I've seen even at Walmart lately. Like just go and buy a bunch of different varieties of fuel and that's something that you can do.
that's a really good idea because it wouldn't be overly expensive. And like you said, you can try a bunch of different things that maybe they had never tried before.
And the other thing
I
is
like it.
they're going to buy it anyways. So that's great
Yeah,
for the budget too.
there you go. Well said. Well said. Um, well, one of the things that I was thinking of, and um, I feel like we've talked about this as far as good things to have, but I think a meat thermometer is a great idea, especially if they don't have one. But even if they do have one, you can always up your game. So, I mean, I love the instant read thermometer that you just poke in, and I have a Thermapen and I absolutely love it. You don't have to spend $100 on a thermometer. It can be, you know, some of those ones on Amazon work just as well. But if they already have one of those, you can get a leave-in thermometer like a dot or something similar that reads the temperature as it cooks. And if they already have that, you can go with the wireless thermometers that don't even need any wires, which you have the meter, right? And it seems like you really like that. I don't have one of those, but I've heard good things about them.
Yeah, that was actually on the meter was on my list of things to talk about tonight. Um, it is definitely a more expensive item, but I was
Mm,
skeptical at first. I wasn't sure if I liked it the first couple of times I used it, but I am a big fan of the meter. So, highly
mm.
recommend the meter. And I think that's a great gift. Um, and they're, $70 for a single. Typically, you can find them on sale, or I think it's 225 for the block that has four in them. And the nice thing about the block is the block connects to Wi-Fi. Um, so if you're leaving the house or something, you can stay connected without having to try and be creative. Like I always end up connecting it to an iPad and then using my phone to connect to the cloud so that I can see it if I leave the house. But I think that's a great one.
And you don't have
Um,
to do that.
yeah, if you've got the block, but $200 is a lot of money to throw down on thermometers. I get that. Um, I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of the Therm Pro brand. Um, it's it is not Thermapen. Like, I think it's almost as good as Thermapen, but it's significantly cheaper. Um, and they've got some cool stuff. Uh, very similar to the the ThermaPro group. That Therm Pro has one. It's a I think it's called the Lightning. That's an instant read that reads in like 2 seconds or a second. So it's super fast, really accurate. Um, I would They have something similar to the meter called the Therm Spike that I bought one. I'm not a huge fan of it because it doesn't have any cloud connectivity. So you have to be on site with it to use it. And that's a pretty big drawback in my mind when my grill's on the Wi-Fi, like I can monitor everything else while I'm gone and not be able to monitor the temperature is like that's kind of a drag for me. So I would stay away from the therm pen unless you're committed to always being there the whole time you cook.
Yeah, interesting.
So
But even if your husband, boyfriend, dad, brother, whatever, is a beginner or just likes to grill, like they don't have to be psychos like us. But if they don't have a thermometer, highly recommend getting something. And like
yeah,
John said, you don't have to spend top dollar. Like just get something that will, because it really changes the game when you can see, oh, this is the temperature I want to take it to instead of char it until we're not going to die, you know?
yeah, yeah. Everybody should have a thermometer. I don't care how long you've been cooking or how good you think you are, from the newest griller to the most seasoned pit guy. You need a thermometer.
Right.
So I guess next on my list are spices. You can always have fun with spices. You can buy new spices from a company that they like. You can um, try something new, or you can do like a gift certificate to Spiceology. That
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I really like Spiceology. So um, Adam's stuff is all through Spiceology. Derek Wolf has got stuff through Spiceology. And then they just have like a whole range of other um, things on there that are really good.
That's a great idea. Yeah, and I like that because it's kind of like what we were saying about wood and, and fuel. Like you can get things for them that they would normally maybe not try themselves. So you can get a bunch of different things that for them just to try. Maybe I don't know, not that rubs are crazy expensive or seasonings, but you could get them stuff that maybe they wouldn't want to spend money on if they didn't know they liked it. Great idea for a gift, trying different things. So yeah, I like that. I like it. All right. I have a personalized apron on here. Mostly
Nice.
because I think that would be awesome. So apron, we've talked about how nice aprons can be. You could have some fun with it and make it funny or put a stupid pun on there or whatever. But a good apron, I mean, goes a long ways. So that was one that I thought would be nice. Save your shirts and your clothes and stuff like that. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, that was one that I had
No,
written
I like.
down.
Yeah, I like it. I think that's sometimes a to you for me gift from the wife because it does
Yeah,
save laundry.
yeah, that's true.
It saves a
That is
lot of stains. So, hey, Allie, the cutest
say
of all the
hey,
gnomes.
say hey. What are you being all shy for? All
um,
right, can you go in the living room if I do this? Okay, go watch it in the living room. Okay.
we we already talked about thermometers, so I'm going to skip over that. Um, I've got two
Sure.
left, and they again, you can spend as much or as little as you want on these, but just a nice cut of meat.
Hmm,
Buy
there you go.
buy a little bit nicer steak. Buy a rack of beef ribs. Buy something that normally you don't have every day because maybe it is a little more expensive. Maybe they've never done brisket before because it's a $60 cut of meat. And you know what? This is a twofer. One, it's a gift you give them because it lets them try something they've never done before if they're excited about that. And two, you may get a couple of great meals out of it.
I love that. That's genius. That's the
It's kind of
gift that keeps on giving, Clark.
yeah, it's maybe it's a little bit hard to figure out how you're gonna it's gonna be hard to figure out how you're gonna wrap that and put it under the tree, but send them on a scavenger hunt or something to find it.
There you go. That's genius. I like that. I like that idea.
Nice.
Um, let's see. We've hit most of mine. One thing I had on here was just a barbecue recipe book. Like, I feel like
Mm-hmm.
I spend a lot of time just scrolling YouTube, TikTok, you name it, watching barbecue and recipes and stuff like that. And so anything that kind of gives those ideas and stuff, I would love. Like I like to go through a good recipe book and just get some ideas, see how people do things differently. So that's one thing that I did have on here.
Yeah. So Meathead has an awesome cookbook that has a bunch of recipes, but it gets into the science. I've talked about Meathead before. Like he's where the source of a lot of my knowledge early on came from. He's got a great one. Adam at this Juke and Q has got a really good cookbook that I like. Um, Stephen Reichlin, who's not someone we talk that much about anymore. Um, he's got a cool cookbook that's all about different barbecue sauces throughout the world that somebody gave me for Christmas, and it's been super fun to try different types of sauces and check that out. So there are tons of barbecue books. Oh, and Sam Jones, his book on whole hog barbecue is was one of my
Is that the one we
favorite.
used?
Uh-huh.
That's right.
Yeah, we used his and it was super cool.
So
But
Stephen Reichlin, I just looked him up because he sounded familiar. He does the barbecue Bible.
yep,
Does that sound right?
yep,
Okay.
that's him.
I've read through some of his stuff before, but yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, he's kind of a
Sweet.
quirky guy, but really knowledgeable.
Hmm. I know.
So yeah, so I really like that cookbook idea. The last one that I had on here, and this can be an incredibly expensive item, or there are a lot of budget options out there too. But a really good knife
Yeah.
makes a great gift, and that can be I've got a $20. They don't even make it anymore, but I think it's a $20 Gerber fish fillet knife. That
Hmm.
that is the best knife I've ever had for trimming meat. That like it's just awesome cutting off excess fat and silver skin. I love that knife. Um, a big slicing knife for brisket, for turkey. Um, Again, I've got like a $20 one that I got on Amazon with a plastic handle that like if I was slicing brisket all day long, it would suck. But for slicing a brisket or slicing up part of it, it's sharp, it's straight, it's long. It lets me do it way better than just with a normal kitchen butcher knife. Um,
Hmm.
and then probably my favorite knife is the one my dad gave me a knife for my birthday. I think it was my birthday, maybe it was Father's Day, but it's from the Great North Knife Company. That it's I don't even know what to call it, but it's a short, heavy, like handcrafted knife that really pretty. And it's just sharp as snot. That is it's a lot of fun to get out, and especially for those special occasions or where you're making a big show out of how you cut it. I'm a big fan of a nice knife as a gift. I think it's something that they can remember the person that gave them to them every time they pull it out and use it.
Yeah. I love that. That's a good and like you said, like you don't have to spend hundreds of dollars. You can on a knife, but like my brother gave me a brisket slicer that he got at like a kitchen wholesale warehouse next to where he works that had it on sale, and I love it. Like I'm pretty excited about it. So genius. I like it.
Nice. So, I got. You have any other items on your list before we wrap up?
I think we've covered everything that I had at least. So I'm sure
Nice.
that there are probably a lot of other things, but I feel like we've done a pretty good job of getting some ideas out there and, you know, hopefully.
Yeah. So take this.
And if we
Uh,
didn't, at least we've tried not to talk over each other, you know.
yeah. So take the link now, guys or gals. Send this to your non-barbecue cooking friend or spouse, partner, whoever that you're hoping for a gift. You're doing us a favor by
Yeah.
sharing the link because the algorithms love that crap. Um, but also
Yeah.
helping them because now they've got some great ideas. And if you have questions, spouses, partners, whoever you are, if you need help picking gifts, hit us up in the DMs. We'd love to chat and talk about it. And I've got tons of Amazon links that I've got saved that I'm happy to send out and share.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice.
Likewise.
So, wow. Could you hear that? You hear that motorcycle go
Oh,
ripping by? Oh man, my
not
room's
really.
right here by the highway. So, on
Nice.
on that lovely note, until next time, I'm John.
I'm Mike.
There you go. And this is Back Guys with Smokers.
Thanks for listening to the Fat Guys with Smokers podcast. Be sure to check us out on Instagram and Facebook. Leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you. Be sure to subscribe so you don't forget to tune in for even more nonsense from a couple of Fat Guys with Smokers.
Don't forget to like, subscribe.